Is Sea of Thieves dying? That's the question we're answering in today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We've reached a bit of a slow point with the game at the moment. The time of year, update schedule, lack of hype train all play a part in this slog that feels like we've been trapped in for years. Before we begin, let's not get into a panic or anything though.
Everybody stay calm! What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody just calm down!
When talking about if any game is dying, it can get quite negative quite quickly. So we're not going to be hazing on Sea of Thieves here.
Hooray!
But we will be criticising it a lot and discussing the state of the game, why the hell it's got to this point, and what potentially we can look for in the future. If you do go on to enjoy this video, then please do consider leaving a like. It really helps out the channel an absolute ton. And if you haven't already, then subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest Sea of Thieves news as and when it comes out. We're getting really close to 10k subscribers now, and I've got some really awesome things planned once we hit it. And while you're at it, why not hit the bell as well? A big part to play when it comes to a game such as Sea of Thieves is the story. And my goodness, are we in the strangest of places right now.
You're really weird.
We've got too many parties, way too many. We have all the Jack Sparrow stuff, including now Wild Rose and George. We have the party of Belle, the Pirate Lord, Pendragon, Eli Slate, etc. We have the Sirens, who I can only presume the Siren Queen's loyalty is no longer to the Dark Brethren, whom speaking of, we of course have them. And to top it off, we have the Ancients. Oh, and I forgot to mention Captain Hook next year. Yes, I'm very confident he'll be coming. Check out my video on him. Oh, and Flameheart and the Reapers, they're kind of important. That's 6 different parties, 6 different motives. Primarily we can half that to the good guys Flameheart and the Dark Brethren, I guess, but even still that's 3 really complicated sets of characters. And this would be fine if they were in the likes of Tall Tales, but they're in adventures, and adventures do not have the capacity to hold such important events. And therefore, if they try and have these critical events take place in adventures, it won't work. And I think the developers know this. Adventures seem to be designed to be kind of pointless. I've said this before. Realistically, what did the first or second arc add/change long term? Nothing, that's what. Think about it. First arc, Flameheart's the threat again. Second arc, the Dark Brethren are back. Merrick's dead. Minimal change. People can afford to miss it. Alright, I'll give it. This third arc might be ramping things up, but I really don't know anymore. Adventures aren't doing the lore justice, and these cardinal events in the story are usually done in Tall Tales or monthly updates. But I think the issues go deeper than just lore. Sea of Thieves is constantly in an experimental state, as I deem it. We've never had reliability with updates. Lore has never been stable. There's no clear solution to this though. Year 1 was periodic updates that no one could expect. After the anniversary update, we got monthly updates up to January 21, where seasonal updates kicked in until the start of 22, where we got seasonal updates but also adventures and mysteries to complement them. It's extremely hard to express this point if you're a new player, but this experimental state is what keeps Sea of Thieves fresh. A new structure more or less every year. Adventures and mysteries give it stability as a live service, which is almost bad because we now expect updates. Back in previous years, if they didn't want to release an update, Rare didn't have to. They could go at their own pace. Now everyone expects periodic content, which means it's rushed like Captaincy. We all saw what happened with that. In year 1, there was also no bar. This meant we'd take what we'd got. What do I mean by this? The game when it launched in the eyes of many was trash. That's just a fact. It didn't meet expectations. To few it was brilliant, like myself. And I really do miss the old ways, the old Sea of Thieves. We didn't need fancy glowy assets to make our fun. The world was our oyster. We explored, theorized, made our own fun. There was the biggest sense of mystery there's ever been as well, because we didn't know the devs as well as we do now. They weren't as open, and we had zero idea where the game was going or even what the story of this place was. We were constantly in the dark. I guess I'm just an old soul and we've moved past that now, but my main point is Sea of Thieves' predictability makes it mortal. Eventually people will tire, and it's already happening with Adventures and Mysteries. If you're anyone on any social media, then you'll know exactly what I'm on about. The community also feels incredibly down, which is a lot to do with it. Everyone's occupied with other games. People are moving on for now. With so many releases of new games recently and upcoming, Overwatch 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Grounded, and Return to Monkey Island to name a few, there are other things people are interested in. And I think it's partly to do with Captaincy. Season 7 flopped. Don't tell me otherwise, it flopped. A 5, 6, 7 week delay, then a launch with minimal new content. The content there was broken, and a ridiculously long season. That update introduced so many bugs. It was the most poorly executed update we've ever had to Sea of Thieves. Not the worst, but the most poorly executed. Captaincy caused Sea of Thieves to go on life support. Already the announcement of Captaincy was a little dry at E3, but with the situation, basically no one cared apart from the concurrent player base. E3 is meant to hype new people up about new games. Well, if anything, the opposite effect happened with Captaincy. In total, we have an approximately 4.5 month season wait until Season 8 from the launch of Captaincy. Season 8 is set to release in December. I mean, Season 6 was 5 months long and it had 2 parts. So much for seasons. Last time I checked, they're meant to be 3 months. People are put off with this incredibly long wait, and I mentioned other games already, but for me, this is Overwatch 2, and I'm gonna make some comparisons here. So, let's get a brief history if you're not aware. Overwatch was arguably the biggest game on the planet at one point. It was Project Titan turned around into a competitive FPS, in one of the quickest turnaround times in history. As of 2019, it generated over $1 billion for Activision Blizzard. That is crazy. In 2019 though, we also got the announcement of Overwatch 2 at BlizzCon, the sequel to the game that took the planet by storm. With it, new characters, maps, modes, a new AAA campaign better than the likes of the original Subnautica, Elden Ring and Red Dead Redemption. Honestly, any campaign game out there. It was the next generation of gaming, but then came the drought. The once mighty game with the incredible lore and story meaning to be expressed in the sequel slowed. Over the course of 2018, 19, 20 and 21, the game came to a halt. The player base lost interest and the game virtually died. Updates were recycled events, and the same thing happened to Overwatch that happened to the likes of TF2. Then there were the Activision Blizzard scandals, being sued for sexual assault and many other horrific charges. Key employees left specifically on the Overwatch team. In fact, one of the heroes in Overwatch was named after someone who sexually harassed women, which his name was changed after the accusations came out. Point is, this game fell off the face of the planet indefinitely. But then in 2022, a developer update from the game director shared that they're shipping PvP out later this year, and PvE in 2023. In fact, it was revealed that for 3 years their sole focus was PvE, what Activision Blizzard are notorious for in the likes of World of Warcraft. And for only a year were they developing the PvP side of things. After 2 betas, much press marketing, the PvP of Overwatch was released a couple days ago on October 4th. So, why am I telling you this? The community went ballistic at the announcements of Overwatch 2 and final early access release. 3 new heroes, 5 new maps, a brand new mode, seasonal content system, art style overhauls, events, competitive modes reimagined, and every single sound and music redone and re-recorded were added. For months, Overwatch 2 has been trending on Twitter and around the globe. It is set to beat its predecessor when the PvE releases. I can only imagine what that's going to do. Let's not talk about its launch. It may have gotten off to a bad start, but even still, what's my point in telling you all this? The content in Overwatch 2 was minimal compared to what it could have been had the sequel not happened and the live updates kept happening. But the fact they boxed it up, let the game die, and surprised everyone made such a splash, it's set to become the biggest game ever. It's currently on quintuple the amount of views as Fortnite on Twitch, and that's saying something. I may disagree with how they plan to release the campaign / how the early access system is working, but letting the game die and then releasing something of a sequel worked. It created such a splash, a tsunami, that everyone heard about it. I'm not saying the solution to Sea of Thieves' issues is to let the game die and release a sequel, though I do think that would be kinda healthy. I've talked about it in the past. Anyways, I do think that Rare needs to take a long, hard look at the game and its purpose. Giving it regular content makes it stable, which doesn't keep people interested. The community is feeling down, and as a content creator, my job, I feel, partly is to keep the game going, hence some of my designing updates and wacky theory videos. But even we can see that the game is slowing down through thorough analytics of all our channels and other mediums. We're at a slow point, sure, and we'll recover, sure. Season 8 will be massive as always with all seasons, but it's like Sea of Thieves keeps being given injections of adrenaline to save it from dying. It's not fixing the problem. I know Rare can fix it, but all we can do is wait and see how they sustain the game in the future. How many more new voyages, for example, can they add? Next year will be critical for the game. Either it will blow up or begin its decline. This is me signing off, and I'll catch you in the next one.